The air in our living room felt heavy, like it was holding its breath, as I stood frozen, staring at the phone in my hand. It wasn't mine. It was hers, Lila's, left on the coffee table, buzzing with a notification that lit up the screen. A single message from a name I didn't recognize. Last night was everything. When can I see you again? My chest tightened, a dull ache spreading like wildfire. After 12 years of marriage, I thought I knew her. I thought I knew us. But in that moment, the ground beneath me crumbled, and I wasn't sure if I was falling or already broken. I sank onto the couch, the same one we'd picked out together at a flea market, laughing about how it was retro, but really just worn. My thumb hovered over the screen, the message staring back like a taunt. I didn't want to unlock it. I didn't want to know. But my hands moved anyway, trembling as I typed in her passcode. Our anniversary, 0512. The irony stung. The phone opened, and a flood of texts poured into view, each one a dagger. Words like miss you, can't stop thinking about you, and he doesn't suspect a thing burned into my mind. Her replies were worse, flirty, intimate, alive in a way she hadn't been with me in months. Evan. Lila's voice cut through the haze. She stood in the doorway, her auburn hair loose around her shoulders, her green eyes wide with something that looked like fear. Or maybe guilt. What are you doing with my phone? I held it up, my voice low, barely steady. Who's Daniel? Her face paled, and for a moment, the silence was louder than any answer she could have given. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her hands fidgeting with the hem of her sweater. It's not what you think, she said finally, the words rushed fragile. Not what I think. I stood, the phone still in my grip, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might break my ribs. Lila, I read the messages. All of them. How long has this been going on? She took a step back, her lips trembling. Evan, please. Let's talk about this calmly. Calmly. My voice cracked, and I hated how raw it sounded. You've been lying to me. Sneaking around. Making a fool of me. And you want me to be calm. Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't move me. Not anymore. It wasn't supposed to happen, she whispered. It just did. I didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed, a bitter sound that echoed in the quiet room. You didn't mean to hurt me? You've been texting him for months, Lila. Months. While I'm here, planning our future, thinking about kids, about the life we promised each other. And you're what? Falling in love with someone else. I'm not in love with him, she said quickly, stepping toward me. It was a mistake. A stupid, reckless mistake. I was lonely, Evan. You've been so distant, always working, always. Don't. I cut her off, my voice sharp. Don't you dare put this on me. I've been working to build something for us. For you. And you repay me by this. I tossed the phone onto the couch, unable to hold it any longer. It felt like it was burning my hand. She flinched, wrapping her arms around herself. I'm sorry, she said, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry. I didn't think you'd ever find out. I thought you'd never leave. Those words hit harder than the betrayal itself. She thought I'd never leave. She thought she could keep this secret, live this double life, and I'd stay oblivious, tethered to her by loyalty and love. The realization made my stomach churn. I wasn't just betrayed, I was underestimated. I turned away, staring out the window at the oak tree we'd planted when we bought this house. It was supposed to symbolize our roots, our commitment. Now it just looked like a lie. I need to think, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I can't be here right now. Evan, please, she begged, reaching for my arm. Don't go. We can fix this. We can go to counseling, we can. I pulled away, the touch of her hand foreign now. I don't know if we can fix this, Lila. I don't even know if I want to. The next few weeks were a blur of sleepless nights and hollow days. I moved into a cheap motel, the kind with flickering neon signs and threadbare carpets. I couldn't stay in our house, surrounded by memories that felt like ghosts. Every photo, every coffee mug, every corner of that place screamed of her, of us. I needed space to breathe, to figure out who I was without her shadow. Work became my escape. I threw myself into my job at the architectural firm, sketching designs until my fingers cramped. My co-workers noticed the change, Mark, my closest friend there, kept asking if I was okay, his brow furrowed with concern. I brushed him off, but the truth was, I wasn't okay. I was unraveling, piece by piece, trying to make sense of a life I no longer recognized. It was at a coffee shop, of all places, that I met Sarah. I was sketching on a napkin, lost in thought, when she spilled her latte on my table. "Oh God, I'm so sorry," she exclaimed, her cheeks flushing as she grabbed napkins to mop up the mess. Her dark hair was pulled into a messy bun, and her hazel eyes sparkled with a warmth I hadn't seen in ages. "It's fine," I said, managing a small smile. "My masterpiece needed a coffee stain anyway." She laughed, a sound that felt like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Well, in that case, you're welcome." She hesitated, then gestured to the empty chair. "Mind if I sit? I owe you a coffee for ruining your art." That conversation stretched into hours. Sarah was a high school art teacher, passionate and unapologetically herself. She talked about her students, her love for painting, the way she found beauty in the chaos of life. I didn't tell her about Lila, not then. But for the first time in weeks, I felt something other than pain. I felt seen. We started meeting regularly, first for coffee, then for walks in the park, then for quiet dinners at hole-in-the-wall restaurants. Sarah wasn't a replacement for Lila. She was something entirely different. She listened when I finally opened up about the betrayal, her eyes steady, never judging. "You deserve someone who chooses you every day," she said one evening, her hand resting lightly on mine. "Not just when it's convenient." Those words stayed with me, sinking into the cracks of my broken trust. With Sarah, I started to remember what it felt like to be wanted, to be enough. But the shadow of Lila lingered. She kept calling, leaving voicemails that ranged from tearful apologies to angry accusations. "You're giving up on us," she said in one. "You're running away instead of fighting for what we had." I didn't respond. What could I say? That I'd spent years fighting for us, only to find out she'd stopped? That every time I thought about forgiving her, I saw those texts, heard her voice saying she thought I'd never leave? The breaking point came 6 months after I found the messages. Lila asked to meet, insisting she needed closure. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at a neutral spot, a small cafe downtown, far from our old life. She looked different, thinner, her eyes shadowed with exhaustion. "I ended it with him," she said, her voice soft but urgent. "I know I messed up, Evan. But I love you. I always have. Can't we try again?" I studied her, searching for the woman I'd married, the one who'd laughed with me under the stars, who'd promised forever. But all I saw was the lie. "Lila," I said, my voice steady for the first time in months. "I loved you with everything I had. But you broke that. You broke us. And I can't spend the rest of my life wondering if you'll do it again." Her tears fell freely now, but I didn't reach for her. I couldn't. "I'm sorry," she whispered, but it was too late. I walked away, the weight of 12 years lifting with each step. For the first time, I felt free, not from her, but from the version of myself that had clung to a love that no longer existed. A year later, I stood in Sarah's small apartment, watching her paint. The canvas was a riot of colors, bold and unapologetic, just like her. She caught me staring and grinned, a streak of blue paint on her cheek. "What?" she asked, laughing. "Nothing," I said, crossing the room to pull her close. "Just thank you." "For what?" She tilted her head, her eyes searching mine. "For showing me what real love feels like." She smiled, and in that moment, I knew I'd found something Lila could never take away. I'd thought I'd never leave her, that I'd be trapped forever in her betrayal. But now, standing in the warmth of Sarah's embrace, I realized I wasn't just surviving, I was living. And for the first time in a long time, I was whole.